All right, so this offseason has just moved painfully slow. There is not much to talk about. We're reaching into the depths here at this point, and I'm on vacation by the time this is being uploaded, and I wanted to leave some content, so I'm sorry if any news broke or anything like that while I'm recording this video, or while this video is uploaded, I should say. I'm sorry if any news broke and I'm not there to cover it. I'm currently enjoying myself on vacation. I am not going to be uploading or anything unless it is absolutely necessary and the Rangers make an absurd trade. But let's talk about Ryan Lindgren, because that's the video topic that I want to discuss. You saw by the title, you saw by the thumbnail, you can probably tell by the stats that we are looking at Ryan Lindgren. Why are we looking at Ryan Lindgren? Because there was a report the other day, I forgot who it was from, otherwise I give them credit, that Ryan Lindgren is looking for a contract in the neighborhood of $4 million AAV. So today we're going to be playing a lot of games. We're going to be playing the game of imagination. We're going to be playing pretend, and we're going to be asking ourselves, is it worth giving Ryan Lindgren that contract? The outside look, before we even dive into the stats or anything, because I'm looking at these stats first time with you two, with Ryan Lindgren, where we're going heavy in depth. Because if you guys do not know me, if you're new to this channel, we go in depth here. We don't look at just points. We don't look at just plus, minus. We don't look at the basic stats. We look at every little stat that we can, and we try to get the best data that we can of these hockey players. And that's what we're going to be doing today, and it is going to be with Ryan Lindgren. Is it worth keeping him? Is it not? Let's dive into it. Before we do, leave a like on the video if you do enjoy. Subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're Ranger fans, and turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live next on the channel. I'm hoping I can get a couple videos out while I'm on vacation, all these pre-record stuff. I had trouble figuring out one video. Just for this video, I had trouble figuring out what I was going to do, but I digress. Let's not waste time. Let's talk about it. So when it comes to the points and the base stats of Ryan Lindgren, in his career, he, in 257 games played, as you can see, has 7 goals, 56 assists, I cannot talk, for 63 points. Not the greatest, but we know that he is more of a guy that plays in his own zone. That's obviously something that we know from watching Ryan Lindgren and just from the way that he plays the game. The problem that I have is that he's a plus 77, which is fine and all. But when do we ask ourselves how much of his production, even when it comes to points, are thanks to the likes of Adam Fox? Granted, he does cover up for mistakes Fox makes. But at the same time, we have to ask ourselves, is Ryan Lindgren really the guy worth paying when Keandre Miller is here for the foreseeable future, given the contract that he just got? And then you also have to ask, is it worth paying Ryan Lindgren this much when you look at also the amount of games played each season? He does not play a full season. It's just not a thing that he does. Granted, I will give him credit where in 2019, 2020, I don't know how many games he missed, given the fact that he was called up later on in the season. It was a pleasant surprise because at first it was Libor Hayek on the roster. And then Ryan Lindgren came through and it was like, oh, what a pleasant surprise this guy is. This guy's awesome. He's way better than Libor Hayek. So good that he pushed Libor Hayek out of the lineup and came out of nowhere and surprised us. 2021, relatively healthy. Remember, 56-game season, so 51 games played. I don't remember if he missed games due to the Roro, if he missed games due to just the team being out of contention and the team just decided, yeah, don't play. But then you get to last year where he was relatively healthy. 78 games played is no slouch. Problem was, come playoff time, he was not healthy and he missed some time. He got hurt in game 1, if you guys remember correctly, against Pittsburgh. And that was a huge problem in the series because he ended up missing some games and they were forced to put Patrick Nemeth back in the lineup, which obviously Patrick Nemeth is not good at hockey. The Arizona Coyotes did not even want to play him. And then you go to this past season where he played 63 games. Had a career high in points, which was good. But again, not healthy, and he clearly was hurt down the stretch. He was rushed back from injury, played like a game or two, and was clearly rushed back, and he was not healthy in the playoffs. You could just tell. And again, I asked the question of, like, I don't know, because the team clearly plays better when Ryan Lindgren is on the ice. I don't think anyone could I don't think there's any way to dispute that, just given the fact that that's just, I'm pretty sure the Rangers' record, I could be wrong, that I think their record is better with Ryan Lindgren, but I don't think it was awful when they played without Ryan Lindgren this past year, which is something where, again, is it worth paying him? I don't know, because Nico Mikkola did a fine job in that top pair role where Ryan Lindgren was. His takeaway to giveaway ratio is not the greatest either. He gives the puck away actually more than he takes it away, except for that 2019-2020 season. And then he does get a lot of ice time. He throws a lot of hits, though. 129 in 2021, 2022, 68 the year before, 98 in that shortened season. My God, he was hitting everything that moves. But we're going to dive into some of the deeper stats, because that's what I want to do. So let's get into the possession metrics. You guys know I'm a huge sucker for possession metrics. Let's get into the even strength stats, where Corsi 4 percentage at even strength, very good. Sitting at about 54%, the year before at 48. Not so good, but again, his game is not to play in the offensive zone, but at the same time, you are playing with Adam Fox, so you would hope the offensive numbers, or at least the Corsi, would be a little bit higher. Fenwick 4 percentage at even strength, 54%, not bad. And you can see the way that they deploy him. His offensive zone start times versus defensive zone start times. He is not the majority of the time deploying the defensive zone, but he is more times than most defensemen, where it's a 52 or 53, close to the 53, 47, 48 split there with the offensive zone, defensive zone. So you can tell they deploy him in the defensive zone quite a lot, and that's where they like him. Look at the team, though. This is where it's huge, which this is where I'm having a tough time, because this is where you say the team just plays better with Ryan Lindgren, and he's so good in his own zone. Look at the on-ice save percentage for the Rangers when Ryan Lindgren is on the ice. Almost a 920 in 2019-2020. And then 920 again the year after. The year after that, 930. Granted, Igor did have a big year, but a 940, almost a 940 save percentage for the team when Ryan Lindgren was on the ice. That's ridiculous. You get to the rate metrics, which is another thing that I like to use myself. Corsi 4, 55.8. Very good. Corsi against per 60, not the greatest, but again, like his stats are weird. I'm surprised his Corsi against is below 50%, but the on ice save percentage was that good. I guess it's just because he's like blocking that many shots. How many blocks did he have? 92, 141 the year before. Yeah, you can see why he isn't healthy. You can see why. It's what everyone has been saying. I'm just gonna beat the drum that everyone has been beating for forever now. It's a tough road because of the fact that it's like a Mark Stahl, Dan Girardi thing. Do you want to pay a guy that plays the style of game that much money, who's going to have so much mileage on him not just mileage, but like he's going to have so much fatigue on his body by probably as soon as like 3 seasons from now, maybe 4. So you have to be careful with this next contract if you're the Rangers. And his playoff numbers, not the greatest. The possession metrics, my God, they're actually very ugly. In the playoffs, he actually had a lot of offensive zone start times too, which is bizarre. I don't know what happened there. But granted, Gerard Gallant was not really making the best decisions as a coach. So it is what it is. We'll do C-Jets' favorite thing. Let's look at some miscellaneous stats. And hits, he is this past year. Where was he? I should have sorted with games played. I definitely passed him. 12th on the team in hits with 68 hits per 60, which it kind of matters more. Obviously, Reeves, Hunt didn't really play a lot of games. Same with Coley. So he was 21st on the team, which is actually surprising. How about blocks per 60? That's something that, 5th on the team. There's no denying he blocks a lot of shots. Giveaways per 60. He is 29th. So he's actually like really good in that department, which is surprising because he says that he gives away the puck, or at least the numbers show that he gives away the puck. Takeaways, I don't think he takes away. Yeah, 25th. He does not take away the puck. So that's something that's a little weird with Ryan Lindgren. But now we get into the main thing. We get into the meat and potatoes of this entire video. Is it worth paying Ryan Lindgren? We get to the armchair GM. So this is assuming, but why do we not assume? It makes an ass out of you and me. So we don't assume here. I just got demonetized. God damn it. But anyway, we don't assume because of that, but also because it's the NHL. But this is going to be assuming that the cap, it's reported that it's going to be 87 to 88 million. I went with 88. I probably could have went with 87 to be safer, but assuming it is 88.5 next season, that gives the Rangers $16.4 million in cap space to fill out. You have 4 forward spots to fill out, but Othman should be a full-time guy by then, so we could just bring Othman up. By next season, I think it's very safe to say Othman is on the roster full-time. Hell, I think Will Culley is a safe bet to be on the roster full-time by then. And then that's probably where the list ends. So, and then Belzile will probably just be a scratch at that point. So you're probably looking at a roster that looks like... I would go... I'll just go Panarin, Zibanejad. Actually, no. I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to go Lafreniere, who might not be here after this. At this point, he might not be here in 12 months. So, I don't know about that. And then Kakko's going to need a new deal. So let's just say... Let's play pretend and say this is what the Rangers are working with now. So you have to fill out 2 right wing spots. You would assume Kakko's going to come back at that point. And let's just hope that, let's play pretend and say Kakko has a 50-point season. I think we'll play on the safe side. Let's say the Rangers give him 5 years, and let's say they go 5 times 5 with them, with him. So assuming they go 5 times 5 with them, he's on line 1 with Lafreniere and Zibanejad. That would give them $9.7 million in cap space to work with there. 4th line right winger should not cost much. Granted, Barca Goudreau probably is more likely than not a trade asset there that they can move. Same with Jacob Trouba. Remember, he becomes a modified no trade candidate. Same with Chris Kreider. So they do have... we are Jack Harlow here. We do have options if the Rangers did want to go the route of moving guys, but they're also going to need a backup goalie. They also need 2 defensemen here. So assuming, let's just say Belzile is the guy for the 4th line that next season, just to play pretend, and then let's just call up, let's say Sikora surprises and he's a scratch, and then Harper's the other scratch. So 22-man roster, $8 million in cap space for the Rangers at this point to sign a backup goaltender, which you're hoping Dylan Garand takes that next step. Dylan Garand would be here. That's 7.2 then in cap space. And then they still need 2 defensemen. So Ryan Lindgren would take up about $4 million. Let's say on the safe side, 4.5. Cap's very thin at that point. Cap's very thin. Zach Jones, I don't think is going to be here either. But for argument's sake, he is. And then they leave things to be the same. Like, this is where I'm wondering, is it worth giving Ryan Lindgren that contract? I love Ryan Lindgren, but unless he's a second or bottom pairing defenseman at that point, I don't think it's worth it. In an ideal world, I would love it if the Rangers moved one of... Well, here's the ideal world that we would live in as Ranger fans, right? Lafreniere breaks out, and then you have him on a steal of a contract this season and next season. And then next season, Chris Kreider becomes expendable. And then Chris Kreider, as much as I love him on the power play, he's definitely expendable because he's playing 3rd line minutes, and as much as I love him on the power play, like I said, you don't want to pay a 3rd liner $6.5 million. So Chris Kreider all of a sudden becomes expendable, and then you could maybe Gabe Perreault surprises, or you could sign a cheaper 3rd line option. And then my favorite option for the Rangers to sign would be Devon Toews to play with Adam Fox this upcoming offseason. The problem is I don't know how much Devon Toews is going to be asking for. And I'd assume it's somewhere in the $8 million ballpark. That's what I would assume with Devon Tays. But, because, yeah, I mean, he is just good. But let's assume it is an $8 million deal. Did I accidentally sign him to $80 million? No, I didn't. Let's say they signed him to an $8 million deal. Chris Kreider, we're just going to move him to a random team. I'm sure that the Rangers would have a more thought-out trade, but let's just move him to the Arizona Coyotes just for the sake of cap reasons. $5.7 million then in cap space for the Rangers to fill out a third spot on defense and then a third line left winger. I think that puts the Rangers in a very good spot. I really do. And even then, you could maybe argue, okay, maybe the Rangers make a move to get Trouba out. I don't know. Like, it's a tough situation. It really is. But my answer to this would be, given that the Rangers could have a roster looking sort of like this, and then you fill out, they have $5.7 million to fill out the left wing spot and the third right D spot, I would be more than okay with the Rangers saying goodbye to Ryan Lindgren to have Devon Tays on this roster and then have a new third right-handed defenseman and a new left winger. But the problem is, will Devon Tays even be able to fit in on this team because of the fact that Keandre Miller is going to be up after that year, and then Lafreniere too? Because in this world, we're saying Lafreniere breaks out. Because now that's making me say, okay, they should bring Lindgren back. But it's like, part of me wants the Rangers to get a guy that's more fitting for the top pair. But then also, if the Rangers did move Trouba, again, let's just play pretend and just ship him to the Coyotes too for now. $13.7 million in cap space, assuming the cap is this much and they move both Kreider and Trouba. It wouldn't be bad. Then the Rangers have a lot of room to work with here. And then maybe you give the reins to Miller on that top pair. And then you fill out a new D pair for maybe Lindgren comes back on that $4 million deal, because now you have $21 million in cap space. And I would be very happy with if Ryan Lindgren could be a second pair D-man. I'd feel way more comfortable. You get him a guy that could complement his game on the right side. Then you keep Zach Jones. You could put Ben Harper there. Whatever they want to do for the third pair, they could do. I'm more than okay with that, as long as they're not overpaying for that third pair. And then you're looking at a world where they just need to fill out that third left wing spot. And the Rangers are in a very good cap situation. Here's what I'll say. Here's my final verdict looking at things. Keandre Miller has a lot on his plate here this upcoming season, in my opinion. Because if he could prove that he could be a top pair D-man, Rangers are in very good hands. If he does not prove that, it puts the Rangers in a weird situation where they have to make some tough decisions. But if Keandre Miller could take over the reins and be a top pair defenseman with Adam Fox, and then Ryan Lindgren, you pay him $4 million, $4.5 million at most, to be on the second pair. So if this is my final verdict overall. If Ryan Lindgren is on the second or third pair, 4.5 is probably a lot for the third pair. So 4.5 or $4 million for the second pair, and assuming it's like a 3-year deal, 4-year deal, I'd be okay with it. If they give him more than 4 years, the most I would say is 5. But if they go 6, 7, even 8 years with Lindgren, I'd be very against that contract. Very against it. And if he's the top pair defenseman, I'd be against it too. That's my final verdict. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Did I overanalyze? Probably. Let me know what you think. Should the Rangers keep Ryan Lindgren? Should they move him? Should they move him after the season if they can? Because no, he's on RFA. So I don't know what I'm saying. Should they keep Ryan Lindgren or not? Are you team keep Ryan Lindgren, or are you team get rid of Ryan Lindgren, or are you neutral like me where it's like it depends on the outlook of the roster? Fire off in the comment sections. Would love to hear from you guys. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.